Welcome back. I missed you guys. Now, I know that administration series was a lot. And if you remember what I said in the last video, I'm just giving it to you. There's no room for fluff. There's not a lot of room for ad lib and just free flowing with the conversation. At least I don't see it that way. I believe that every word has a job. Every word has a meaning. And it's important to me that I use the words that you would need to hear so that you can learn how to set this trust up or any other trust correctly and have wild success. So much so that you can do it again, or you can help your family members or the people that you care about, business partners, people that make you money, help them to set up a trust. And then you can become a trustee or something like that on their trust. Structuring is very important. We are definitely going to get there. Now, in my opinion, there's two major components to a trust. That's the setup and the management. We're talking about the management while simultaneously slowly folding in structure, which is fairly easy. In short, you need a management trust / family trust. You need like a holding trust and a business trust. And if you extra savvy, which you will be if you listen to me and watching this channel, you'll go with the ministry trust because that takes donation and you can write off a donation legally. So everybody just relax, legally. Everything that we do on this channel and talk about on this channel, all of the things that we go through are legal. They're backed by precedent. There's plenty of jurisprudence on these things. It's just we weren't taught, and that's fine. That's the reason why I made this channel. That's the reason why I'm gonna show up consistently. You have to understand what these definitions are. You have to understand who the players in the trust are, what they do, what the requirements are. And you're gonna learn all that here. And it's not gonna take forever to do either, or learn. We're gonna lay down a foundation, and then we're gonna move on to the fun stuff, which is probably structuring and how to use these entities as pass-throughs when it comes to, let's just say, trust corpus, all right? And if you don't know what the trust corpus is, just stick around, you're in the right place. I'm gonna tell you everything. But let's just get into this part 1 in this second series, and this is the intro. So let's get to it. Most people who set up a trust never actually run one. They sign the papers, they file them away, and they wait. And there's the problem. That's not a trust. That's a document collecting dust. In this series, I'm going to show you what it actually looks like to operate a trust. The roles, the records, the responsibilities, the things that separate families who protect their wealth from families who lose it on a technicality. Stay with me. This one matters. Here's something nobody tells you when you set up a trust. The document isn't the protection. Running the document is the protection. Think about it. If you own a business, which many of you do, and you never open the doors, never keep any records, never hold meetings, legally, do you even have a business? The IRS doesn't think so. A court doesn't think so. And the same logic applies to your trust. You, right now, might be someone who's already taken the first step. You've asked the right questions. You've wondered why everything you build seems to be exposed to taxes, to liability, to the people, the systems that want a piece of you and all you work for. You looked at the ownership and thought, this can't be the only way. And it's not. But here's what I want you to understand today. The lawful protection a trust provides only activates when the trust is properly maintained. And that starts with understanding who does what and why it matters. The trust is an operation. Treat it like one. Once a trust is settled, the mission changes. You're no longer building the structure. You're running it. And running it means treating it like what it is, an organized operation. The people it serves are the beneficiaries. The goal is a better life for everyone inside of it. Now, here's where most people fall apart. They don't take the long-term weight of this seriously. They create the documents, they sign them, and then they set them aside. They misuse the trust. They change beneficiaries on a whim. They create conflict where there should be clarity. No serious operation runs that way. So let's talk about the role that holds it all together. The most important role nobody talks about. It's called the executive secretary. Now, don't let the title fool you. This is not a clerical position. This is the nerve center of your trust daily operations. Think of the executive secretary as a function, not just a person. In a well-run trust, this role covers documentation, correspondence, certifications, legal file management, and financial awareness. Let me break down what that actually looks like. Every trust transaction, every meeting, every significant decision, it needs to be recorded. You record it in the minutes. Not because someone's watching, because proof is protection. The executive secretary needs to be functional at word processing, basic internet navigation, clear written communication. You don't need a law degree. You need the discipline to produce clear, precise documents that can hold up under scrutiny. Because opposing attorneys are paid to find the weakest link in your structure. Don't give them one. Business experience, not required, but understand trust documents move through mail services, shipping, property transfers, county filings, contracts, real estate. The more experience, the better. The margin for error is low. If you're seeing how much goes into running this right, subscribe so you don't miss what's ahead. The free What is a Trust ebook in the description is the foundation. The school community waitlist is where serious people are putting this into practice. And the Trust book checklist is pinned in the comments. Grab it. It maps exactly what we're covering right now. All of it's there. Now let's keep going. The core 6. What lives in your trust book? There are 6 core documents that must be kept in your original trust book. Always accessible, always current. Number 1, the first and last page of the trust indenture. 2, trustee acceptances and resignations. 3, banking minutes. 4, investment minutes. 5, certification of trust. 6, the IRS original notification of the employer identification number. So that means the trust EIN. These are not optional. These are the documents that prove your trust is real, active, and properly administered. Whether you're opening a bank account, transferring property, or sitting across from an attorney in a dispute, banking minutes, investment minutes, and the certification of trust must be recreated whenever bank signature changes occur. They require current dates and signatures. This is not bureaucracy. This is architecture. And here's a critical rule. Original documents only leave the trust book when trustee signatures are required. In every other case, send certified copies, never originals. If you've been to court, if you've been sued, or if you have sued, you know how important that originals versus copies are. And if you have not been sued and you have not been to court and you're setting up a trust, just know the more successful you are, the more the IRS wants to know, do you owe them any money? It's just a fact of life. Let's talk about meetings. A properly run trust holds no fewer than 2 Board of Trustee meetings per year. You heard me say this before. We talked about this in a previous video. I will put it up here or right here. I'll put it up here so you can go and check that out if you have not seen it. But cohesion must be built, especially when you're a brand new trust. And the best way to do that is by meeting frequently, especially in the first year. 3 or more is preferred. These meetings align everyone inside the trust, trustees, the grantor, relevant beneficiaries, and they generate the minutes that prove the trust is operating. So the minutes is all the decisions that you made when you was at the meeting. It's going to all start to make sense. Just stay with me, subscribe to the channel, stay with me. The executive secretary sets the date, gathers agenda items, confirms attendance. If members are traveling, handling logistics, the trust covers those expenses. This is professionalism. This is how a real operation runs. Now here's something that doesn't get enough attention. The oath of privacy. Every trustee, every grantor, and everyone introduced to trust functions or paperwork signs a privacy document. Every beneficiary attending a board meeting signs it. This oath carries serious financial penalties for violation by design. You put that in the indenture, in the declaration, because the privacy of your trust structure is part of what makes it protective. Board members hold each other accountable. You should have at least 2 trustees, one of which being someone who you can trust, and the other one being a protector with no affiliation to the someone you can trust. Just in case the someone you can trust turns into someone you can't trust. You need a protector to remove them. We'll get into it. We're going to talk about the protector. We're going to talk about how many trustees. We're going to talk about trustee requirements, whether you're a new trustee, a rookie trustee, or a vet trustee, and the difference between the two. And how do you build a rookie into a vet? We're going to talk about all of that in detail, the same way that we're doing now. So let's just keep going. I'm getting sidetracked a lot because I'm very excited to be back. And I understand how much you all learned from that first series. So I'm like on 10 on this series. So I'm only going to go up on the next series, on the next video and everything. So y'all stay tuned because I'm like really, really excited. This oath carries serious financial penalties for violations by design because the privacy of your trust structure is part of what makes it protective. Board members hold each other accountable. If someone shares trust information in the presence of non-trust members, they get corrected. That's the standard. And when I say corrected, I mean really corrected, like, hey, pull them to the side and say, did I overhear you talking about how many TCUs you were given for your exchange? If you don't understand what I just said, you need to click subscribe. All trustees aren't bad. Let me just say that. We need trustees. We love our trustees, but trustees are human. So just be aware of that if you're a grantor or a settlor setting up a trust. Make sure you write the penalties inside the indenture or inside the declaration. It may come in handy later. Stay aware, stay ready. The financial responsibilities of a trust ultimately sit with the trustees and their accountants, but the executive secretary plays a watchdog function, making sure monthly, quarterly, and year-end financial statements are produced and attached to the board meeting agendas, making sure everyone knows who has signature authority at each financial institution and where the documentation lives. Because in a trust with 3 trustees, 2 might be authorized to sign at Bank of America and a different combination of 2 at Chase. That distinction matters, and someone needs to know it. That someone is the person running the operation with excellent attention. Here's how you take the next step. If you watch this far, you already know something most people don't, that a trust is not a one-time transaction. It's a living operation, system for protecting your family's wealth across generations. So here's what to do right now. Subscribe. We publish this level of content every week, and what's coming next builds directly on what you just learned. Watch the full playlist, and the more you watch, the clearer your path becomes. I can promise you that. I've watched other channels, and not to go off on a tangent, but I've watched other channels. I've researched my niche, right? I've researched what's being put out there. And it's a broad approach to the content that's being put out on trust. I just know that there's a need for these details. There's a need to put out in the world that you can do this on your own. You don't need to hire a board or a professional trustee or anything like that. You don't have to do that. What you need to do is watch this channel and understand these basic principles and these responsibilities of the players involved in setting up your trust, and you will be fine. I guarantee you will be fine. No, the IRS is not going to come after you as soon as you set up a trust and put your house in it. It don't work like that. It happens over time. If it's been 3 to 5 years and you have paid 0 taxes, the IRS is going to want to know. But on this channel, we're not going to show you how to move like that. You're going to know how to move the right way. So let me get finished because I'm just so excited. I keep getting thrown off on what I'm trying to get across. It won't be like this all the time, but it is right now because I missed y'all. And welcome back. The free What is a Trust ebook is linked in the description. It's the foundation, written for the person who's done with exposure and ready for control. The school community Waitlist is also in the description. That's where serious people will implement their structures together, not just studying them. And the trust book checklist is pinned in the comments. Grab it before you close this tab. The people who protect generational wealth don't wait. They get organized, they get documented, they get running. Now, before I go, I want to tease what's coming next. The executive secretary. Boy, oh boy, what a rewarding position to have in any trust, the executive secretary. It's some work, but if you're the type of person who don't mind reading, who don't mind learning, who don't mind organizing, the person that has everybody's phone number in your phone organized with their emails, emergency contacts, probably addresses in the notes. If you're that type of person who keep your contact list like that, you might be a natural executive secretary, because the executive secretary cares about having the communication available and then taking the information needed to communicate effectively and organizing it into a system that helps them manage. That's really all it is. The general manager is the bird dog. The general manager is the one who's going to be business savvy, the one who's going to advise the trustees on how to get to the bag, how to increase the trust corpus. The executive secretary, it's a function. Remember what I said, it's a function. So you don't have to have one person doing everything. You can do multiple jobs, but it's still a function. And we're going to talk about skills, the skills needed to be a good executive secretary in the next video. So I'll see you there. Peace.